They came back, "Sir, could you repeat that appointment number?" So I gave it to them again. Yeah, so this load picks up tomorrow in Atlanta, Georgia at 2 in the afternoon. So I want to tell you about a recent experience I had with Convoy. And I'm going back a week, maybe 10 days. I had a load that was going to pick up in Mooresville, North Carolina at the Niagara water facility there. And it was a experience in and of itself. You take my advice, if you're ever given a load coming out of that Niagara water plant in Mooresville, North Carolina, don't take it. I don't care what they're offering to pay you, it's not worth it. I was supposed to pick up this load at 10 p.m. and I got there at 8:30. I got there at 8:30 p.m. I sat there in a line waiting to get up to the gate so I could get checked in for over 2.5 hours. Once I got to the gate, I gave them my load number, my appointment number, that I was supposed to pick up this load that went to a Kroger grocery store in Powell, Tennessee. And it was only 2 pallets. That's what I was going to pick up. I gave them the appointment number. They told me to wait just a second. They came back, "Sir, could you repeat that appointment number?" So I gave it to them again. Yeah, so this load picks up tomorrow in Atlanta, Georgia at 2 in the afternoon. So not only did Convoy give me the wrong load and wrong load details, I'm in the wrong state. And then it just goes downhill from there. I had to leave the property and go call dispatch. So I call Convoy, and they get this guy on the phone, and, you know, just like most of their people that handle their support line, he had a very thick accent, and English was definitely not his first language. He struggled, to say the least. When he answered the phone, you could hear a rooster crowing in the back, so, I mean, maybe he's sitting in a barn taking support calls for Convoy, but regardless, he was of absolutely no use whatsoever. You know, he couldn't tell me anything to do other than go to a truck stop, go to the nearest truck stop and wait to be called. I played that game with Convoy before and they never called. So I asked to speak to a supervisor. He put me on hold, came back after about 5 minutes, and the supervisor was not available. I said, "Well, I don't mind waiting, just leave me on hold, and I'll wait for a supervisor, but I really want to talk to a supervisor." He wouldn't let me. So, you know, at this point, I'm a little more than aggravated. So I pretty much told him he's a worthless useless not worthless, useless. And I hung up the phone. So I contacted Dan Lewis, who was the co-founder and CEO of Convoy. I sent him an email laying it all out. Not that I really expected Dan to do anything, but I did want to I wanted to document it, I wanted to make him aware of it. And I guess about a week later, he wrote me back. And to me at that time, it was a non-issue. You know, I had already moved on. Well then, 2 or 3 days after Dan had contacted me, I got an email from Convoy support. Convoy support sent me that email, basically trying to make a big deal out of me telling that support representative that he was a useless, which he was. I wasn't lying. And they were trying to make a big deal of it and telling me that, you know, they won't tolerate foul language being used with their representatives. They're here to help you, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote him back and I said, look, you know, he was of absolutely zero help to me. But you still don't get the problem. Look beyond me calling him that name and look at what the root cause was, what prompted me to use that language with him. Why did I choose to call him that name? Well, number one, because the ineptitude of the Convoy staff who sends me on a load that doesn't exist. Then they want to add insult to injury, and the following day they send me notice where the shipper had canceled the load, and they send me a whole $150 for my time killing an entire day waiting for this load so that I could go pick it up, and then getting there, killing another 2.5 hours plus sitting in line, only to find out there was no load. So they want to focus on me using a bad word to describe their useless representative, rather than focus on what's the core of the problem. You know, and their lack of attention to detail, their lack of adequate communication, their lack of checks and balances, I guess you'd say, when it comes to these loads. So they wanted to make a big deal out of it, and they threatened to discharge me as a carrier. Okay. Now, if that's the way you want to do it, fine, have at it. I don't do that much with you guys in the first place. But if you want to get to the root of the problem, look beyond the bad word that I used with your guy and look at what the core problem is. But I guess the purpose of this video is to not only tell you to, kind of be on your P's and Q's when you're working with Convoy. Don't let them bully you. There's plenty of fish in the sea. They are not the only game in town when it comes to getting loads. There's plenty of opportunities out there with plenty of other brokers. You can get on the dashboard and have access to probably 200 brokers. But if you're ever in a situation like that, try to look at the big picture and see what's the root cause, what created the problem to begin with, and then once the problem was there, what made it worse, and see if you can actually, number one, get through to them, but also see if you can begin to make a difference for yourself, because when you make a difference for yourself, you'll make a difference for others in this industry. Doesn't matter if you're booking loads at a higher rate, trying to avoid the cheap freight, if you're dealing with issues with a shipper or a receiver, broker, whatever the case may be. Don't get lost in the weeds. Don't let the problem consume you and overtake good sense. Take a step back, think about it, take a breath, and look at the situation for what it is. What was the root cause of the problem? What precipitated the problem? What had made the problem become bigger than what it was or what it should be? And then move forward from there. I hope everyone stays safe on the road. Please keep an eye out for them, because they're not keeping an eye out for you. Be safe, be careful, and we'll see you next time. Bye.